Hey, what's going on, guys? In this video, I'm going to take you through a few things I really wish I'd known when I got into a tech career. These are things that it was not obvious to me that they were a big part of succeeding on a technical team, inside of a company, in my career as a whole. And if I could go back now, I would tell myself, my younger self, 12 years ago, these very specific things and these skills to work on and develop as early as possible in your career. Without further ado, let's jump right in. So I'm going to start with the most obvious one first, just to get it out of the way, but soft skills are almost as big of a part of your success as your hard technical skills. So as your Linux and your programming skills, your ability to solve problems, decompose problems. Soft skills really feed into your hard skills, your technical skills, and actually make you much more effective technically. You need to become comfortable advocating for your ideas in a team, handling conflict with teammates, kind of negotiating for your salary, being easy to manage, staying professional, not getting overly emotional, finding ways to redirect other people's ideas that you don't disagree with without attacking those people or those ideas directly, becoming good at sizing up people and how to kind of deal with them, how to speak to them without making them feel defensive. When you get into a company, it's just a little bit of a weird atmosphere. Everyone's there because of money for the most part, and it makes people behave differently than if you were all just volunteering for something. There's a little bit more politics and a little bit more stuff to avoid or be careful about. I'm not saying you should, read Machiavelli and become a politician. It's not what I'm saying at all. It's just become aware of this stuff, learn how to handle some of the negative things, and learn how to play to your own strengths. Advocate for yourself, for your ideas. A lot of the time, your technical skill set will be secondary. It just means that you do need to become a more effective socially skilled person than you might think. Don't believe that stereotype of a bunch of hackers in basements. It's their skill set that matters. They're just a massive D-bag or really hard to be around or combative, but they're just so successful because of their skills. For every one of those people that you find out in this industry, there's 100 whose careers have been shattered on the rocks because they were too hard to work with. Now that we've got that one out of the way, one huge piece of advice I would give younger Dave, myself 12 years ago, would be to build a T-shaped kind of skill set, technically. Here's what I mean by that. You want a very broad technical foundation that has a little bit of knowledge about lots of different skill sets, kind of a whole bevy of delicious tech subjects, and you want to know how they fit together. You don't have to be an expert at them, but you should know a little bit about databases, a little bit about operating systems, a little bit at least about scripting and programming, a little bit about development environments and a little bit about the build pipeline, a little bit about CI/CD, a little bit about infrastructure as code. There's so many subjects and so many different things. And you kind of can't afford to have large gaps. You can absolutely afford not to be an expert at everything. That's not possible. But you should have a broad idea of your field and how different kind of parts of that interact and where they actually touch, where they integrate. The other part of that T, so that's the top part of the T. The deep part is your deeper skills or expertise in one or more, as your career progresses, specific subjects. So you might have your broad T and all of your ye old DevOps skills, the ones that I just rattled off. And then you might be really, really good at programming specifically. Or you might be really, really good at coming up with super seamless build and deploy pipelines. You might be really, really, really good at Terraform and infrastructure as code. So you start by building deep expertise in one thing, and usually that's dictated by the job you're in, right? It's if you get a role, you get a lot of opportunity to touch something, that's where you'll build your deep expertise. But don't neglect continually kind of updating your idea of your broad industry, the broad skill sets around you, and and how they all fit together. The third one, this is true in tech, especially true, doubly true if you are in tech and working remotely, as many of us are now. You might not believe this, but I used to be pretty jacked, about 40 pounds lighter when I got into tech. I'd been in very active physical jobs before that, and I thought, oh, like I can eat like a large pizza for lunch and be fine. That was just my life. Also has to do with being younger. But as soon as I got into this sedentary tech job, that really changed. And now I have to be much more careful about exercising regularly, walk the dog. You have to take care of your body because a lot of your mental energy, and I didn't realize this at the beginning, comes from this platform of physical health. And if your physical health starts deteriorating, you will just have less mental energy. Your mind, as wonderful as it is still implemented in wetware. I mean, it's implemented in your physical hardware, and you gotta take care of that first. Something that is very useful to do early in your career is to start thinking about or start growing your career in the direction of the lifestyle that you'd like to have. For example, if you would like to travel around a lot, you can start thinking about what skill set would I need to get a sales engineering position. So an engineer that backs up a salesperson or sales team in selling some software. It can be an enormously profitable route to go, the kind of sales side of software organizations. And for free, essentially, you get a bunch of world travel, get to stay in hotels, you get to be, socially very active. You're always on the move. And if that's your thing, maybe do that for a few years and build your career in that direction. If you want to, work remote, work from an island, have a super low cost of living area so you can retire in like 5 years while making a high salary, maybe look at software engineering, back-end development, maybe become a database expert, someone that gets like called in to do like database contract work to help people troubleshoot. These are like solid mid to late career directions that you can go in, which can enable a very specific lifestyle. You don't really have to show up as a database engineer. It's like they give you some VPN credentials and you go in, you look at their stuff, you optimize their stuff, and then you go on your merry way and you bill your $300 an hour. So think about what lifestyle your career choices actually end up meaning. It can be very easy, especially at the beginning, to just kind of grow in whatever direction you have an opportunity in. And that's great at first when you need to say yes to every opportunity just to grow, just to get in the door. But at some point, early to mid-career, you start thinking about what direction you actually want to go in and then do that consciously. Don't just drift in the wind because, yeah, maybe you'll end up somewhere great, but maybe you won't. Or maybe you'll end up at a dead-end job somewhere. So stay conscious of where you want to go. Keep thinking about where you want to go. Keep reevaluating what's out there. What would I like? Has my life changed? What kind of lifestyle do I want to build? Finally, one of the more important things I would tell myself in my early career is if you want to be taken seriously, act like a professional, both outwardly. So when you're dealing with your team, don't gossip, be professional, don't talk badly about anyone. You don't have to go tattle if someone is doing that, but don't gleefully partake. Stay professional. You're there to do a job. Outwardly, that also means don't try to be right at any cost. You're there to solve problems for a business. Keep that in mind. Sometimes doing things the perfect way is wrong for the business. Sometimes you need to make some tech debt and you need to do it consciously. You need to be a professional and always keep the business's interests first and, keep harmony in the team. Be good for the team. Don't talk behind people's backs. If you have a problem, bring it up with your manager, bring it up with the person. Social skills plays into this. Be a professional. For yourself, sort of inwardly, personally, career-wise, being professional means commit to becoming really good at your craft. So if you've chosen, in that T-shaped kind of skill set, that means both continuously update your view of your broader surroundings and industry fill in any gaps that you need. You can't build this broad foundation all at once. It'll take you years just to have the basics down, but keep updating that. And in your deep skill, be serious about it. If there are developments in your industry that might make some of your stuff obsolete, learn the new stuff. Don't sit there and complain about like how annoying Kubernetes is or whatever. Just learn it. If you see your industry going somewhere, get there first. Evaluate it first. So that way when your manager or someone or another team asks you, hey, like what about this new tech? Should we use that? You as a professional can already have an educated opinion on it. You've maybe played around with it a little bit at home. That again reflects outward. People can see that if you take your career seriously, if you take your skill set seriously and you see yourself as a professional. Also, it helps with getting promotions, getting paid a tremendous amount of money. Recruiters will hunt you down. You'll grow your network of people that respect you. They will bring you into companies. After your first few years in the industry, if you are a professional person who takes their work seriously, you probably won't have to ever write like mass applications again because you will be referred into companies. You'll get easier interviews. The tides very much turn in your favor. If you've got any good tips, I would love to hear them in the comments. Especially, please say like what your job title is and what you wish you had known before committing to it or getting into it. What would you tell yourself 5 years ago before getting into tech? I'm sure that'll be really useful for people just contemplating getting into tech, reading those comments. Thanks again, everyone. I'll see you soon. Peace.